Aloha, and this is Dr. Joe Kipo'o coming to you from my basement. I had a really fun weekend this past weekend, and I have this voracious appetite for studying and learning and growing, especially when it comes to understanding more about the human mind, about how it works, how perceptions affect your life, and about all the different wonderful things that go on inside the brain, inside the mind, and how it can affect your life, affect your success levels, and so forth. And so today I wanted to actually get on here and I wanted to share with you some really fun things that I learned over the weekend that I've talked about these type of things before, and but the person that I learned this from, he just put it in a particular way that I was like, wow, that's a great way of looking at things, to be able to help people understand how their perception of their life, it actually affects the way that they see things. And so I wanted to just go over this and share this with you because I thought this was really cool. So let's start off with, this is you over here. All right. And then you've got your whole life out here in front of you. You've got, whether that be maybe a particular goal that you've got going on, maybe you've got your business, you've got your family, you've got whatever it is that you're interacting with out here. That information comes right into your body. And it comes through all your different senses, whether that be through your taste, touch, your smell, your hearing, your eyes. We all know this. We all know this. It's all that information going on outside of you comes into your head, comes into your brain. And then the cool thing is that your brain goes through, it processes all that information, and then it brings it to your conscious awareness so that you can process through what's going on, right? We know all this. Now, here's an interesting thing though. The interesting thing is that everything that's coming in to your brain, into your mind, is filtered. It is filtered through a particular system inside your brain. And this system is called the reticular activating system. So the reticular activating system is all about filtering the information that comes into your brain to assess, is this a safe thing? Is this a good thing? Is this something that I need? Is this something that I want? And so then what happens is that everything that comes into the brain also has to go through the RAS before it gets into you. So it goes through your reticular activating system, and your reticular activating system is basically a filtering system. So we got the filter here, and it filters through all the information that comes through to decide, okay, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Should I be scared of this? Should I be going for this type of thing? Now, what happens is that as we grow up, and between the ages of 0 to 6, 0 to 11, it depends on who you talk to with the studies, but our brain and our mind is completely open and unfiltered. So between the ages, let's go through ages 0 to 11, okay? Your RAS is basically offline. There's no RAS that is working. So everything that comes through and into your system is completely unfiltered. Now, could you imagine what happens in your life if your interaction with money is not that great? What if your interaction with money is just like, it's poor, or your family was poor, or your parents thought that money was horrible, all those different things? What would happen? If it goes into your system unfiltered, well, guess what? Your brain now thinks that all those different beliefs are perfectly fine. They think that that's just reality. So if you have a particular thing come into your system that has to do with money is not good, well, that's what you end up getting up here in your brain, that money is no good. And so with money not being good, and that's completely unfiltered, well, now your whole life after the age of 11, once this RAS comes online, now you've got that system stuck inside your brain, whether it be that money is no good or money is evil, whatever it might be. And once that filter system comes back online after ages 0 to 11, now let's say you then go out into the workforce and you're trying to make money. Well, when you try to bring money into your life, your RAS that is now online says, wait a minute, the programming that I got between 0 and 11 said that money's evil, so we want to ignore that. We're going to ignore more money in our life, or we're going to do things that are going to make sure that we run away from more money in our life. Or this can go with weight loss. This can go with relationships. This can go with your health. If we have any type of programming going on in our brain that tells us that something, we need to run away from something, or something is bad, whatever it might be, then we're not going to be able to accomplish that goal. We're not going to be able to get that goal that we're going after. And so essentially, what we need to do is that we need to be aware that we've got this program and we've got this filtering system going on. And this filtering system, the RAS, can be changed. That's the cool thing. We can change this process. We can make it so that this filtering system no longer is filtering out the things that we want to accomplish in our life. We can actually change this so that it will bring in all those things. It will bring in all the information in our environment that is going to help us to be able to be more successful. It's going to be accepting of the information and the beliefs that we bring in. That's why a lot of people, if you're familiar with self-development, a lot of people will jump into affirmations right off the bat. And an affirmation basically is something like, I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am strong, I am a millionaire, or whatever the affirmation might be. People will start with these affirmations and they're like, okay, I'm not getting enough money in my life, so the affirmation I'm going to start using is that I make plenty of money. So then you write down that affirmation, you start saying it to yourself 3 or 4 times a day, you're reading it 3 or 4 times a day, and what actually happens is, if you've ever been involved with this, is that you start noticing that you feel bad. It doesn't feel right. It actually creates more anxiety and more stress for you. Well, the reason is that your RAS is on high alert. Your RAS knows that, hey, between the ages of 0 and 11, you knew that money was evil and was bad. And now you're trying to tell me that money is good. No, I'm sorry, we don't like that. We're going to kick that out of the system. And the way that it kicks it out of the system is to give you feelings of anxiety or depression or uncomfortable feelings, saying that this doesn't fit. This doesn't fit into our current set of beliefs. So we're going to kick that out. We're not going to let that come in, right? So that's why a lot of times people, they'll start using affirmations, positive affirmations. They're like, now I've been using these positive affirmations for months and nothing is happening. Nothing's happening for me. I just feel worse, actually. And the reason is because you got your RAS going on. So what I usually do is that I say, okay, great. So you know some certain affirmations that feel uncomfortable when you say them, and they make you feel depressed or anxious when you feel them. Well, that's a great first step. Because now if you take a look at your affirmation, let's say if your affirmation is saying, I love money, right? Because you're trying to get rid of that belief of money is evil, whatever it is. And you feel uncomfortable with that. That doesn't feel right. Well, now we know that we can go in and we can work on the feelings and so forth around the affirmation. So let's say if the feeling you have every time you say that I love money, let's say the feeling that comes up is more of a fear feeling, right? Okay, now the feeling in this case is actually more important than the affirmation. So the feeling actually gives us insight to what's going on with this filtering system, with this RAS that we have going on. And there's a really simple process now that we can take ourselves through to be able to work on the programming. And the process that I personally like to use, and I am sure I've shared this a million times, and the only reason why is because it is so effective and I love using it. Now, I use it every single day. I have plenty of patients and clients who use it every single day, and it's just, it rocks. It rocks. And so the process, let me erase a couple things here. So the process of reprogramming this RAS is what I like to call write and shred. Now, write and shred, it's a really easy process. And in fact, it's so easy when I teach people this process, a lot of times people won't do it because it's so simple. It's so simple they just forget to do it. So I want to teach you this process, and I want you to commit to yourself to taking this process, using it at least once per day. That's it, one time per day. And it will only take maybe 5, maybe 20 minutes max of your time a day. Now that is totally worth it. Take that time to create change in your brain that's eventually going to change the way that you see the world, which eventually changes what you bring into your life. Okay? So commit to yourself at least 5 to 20 minutes a day, once a day, to use this write and shred process. You promise? Okay. Which, by the way, welcome, Sarah. I'm glad you're here. All right. So let's go over this process. So write and shred, it's really easy. So you take your piece of paper. I prefer paper because I like being able to feel the physical paper right in my hand as I write on it. But you're going to take a piece of paper. You can also do this like on the computer program. You can use a Word document or something like that. You just need something to write out different thoughts that you're having. Okay, so then you're going to take a writing utensil. So you can use like a pen, and you can use your pencil here. Okay, and then what you're going to do is you're going to write on your piece of paper, or type out on your piece of paper this particular sentence. You're going to start off with, I feel blank because. That's all you write down. So I feel blank because. Now the blank is going to be the different emotions that you're feeling. So if you had a certain particular affirmation that you've been working with and you keep having this feeling of fear come up, so you're going to write in that I feel fear because. And then now think about it. Why do you feel fear? Do you feel fear because you're not sure about your future? Or do you feel fear because you're not sure if you have enough money? You have fear because you're not sure when the next paycheck's coming in. Or you feel fear because you're not sure if you're ever going to be able to make a deeper connection with your spouse or your loved one or a significant other, right? So you just start writing out every single thing that you feel fear about, okay? Now, for most people, I found that about half a sheet of paper or a full sheet is about usually what they need to write everything out for that moment. Sometimes it might be more. I've had some people that told me they took 6 pages worth to be able to write through everything. Now, that's kind of extreme. Usually, you're not going to need that. Usually, you only need about maybe a page. Now, what gives you the clue of when you're ready to be done is that usually by the time when you get done down here at the end, you actually start feeling a little better. You start feeling more positive. You actually start thinking, oh, maybe I'm not so fearful. And so when you start feeling those more positive feelings, that is your clue that you need to be done, okay? So once you are done writing out your paper here, the most important step is the very last step, is where you're actually going to take that piece of paper and you are going to dispose of it. You're going to dispose of it, and there's so many different ways. One way is that, like I called it, write and shred. My kids we have this little shredding machine up. They'll do this process, and then they go in there and they stick the little paper in there and they see it shred through. They hear the noise, and it shreds, and all the pieces of paper get shredded up. And that is literally, you're telling your brain you are done with this process. You're done with those emotions. You're letting that go. You're literally destroying it and changing it and getting rid of it. And as you do that, when you physically see that paper get shred up, or some people like to burn it, put it to flames. Let's say if you do this on a digital thing, you just delete it, and you see that paper delete. Or if it's in your recycling bin, you go in there and you delete your recycling bin. You hear that little sound. Okay, you're trying to give your body all these different clues that you are done and moving forward, and that you're actually changing what the RAS is filtering out. So now, once this process is done, you can go back and now you can use your positive affirmations. In fact, it's very important that you use positive affirmations now. And the general rule, a lot of research has found that if you ultimately want to squeeze out all that negativity and you want to be more in a positive place, it's called the 3-to-1 rule. So 3-to-1 rule basically is where for every one negative, you want to replace it with at least 3 positives. Okay? So for every one negative, you're going to let go, or you're going to write out 3 positives. Now for me, I use a process that's called Build the Warrior. So I call it Build the Warrior. So I take that 3-to-1 process, and I actually take a journal. I have a journal that I keep beside my bed. And so every time I have this one fear or anxiety or depression or whatever comes up for me, I come in here and I make sure that I triple up on my positives. So for example, we had the example of fear, right? So maybe you have the fear of not enough money, or maybe you have fear of the future. Whatever the fear is, you want to now find 3 positive that you're going to replace that with. So maybe you can find that you actually have, you're going to write down that you feel courage about the future, or you feel hope, or maybe you're going to write down that you feel confident. Okay. And so you write down your 3 to negate the 1, and you're going to put that in a journal, and then you get to read that every single day. That's something you get to look at. You get to say that, and you can say it out loud. That's what I love doing. Of saying, I feel courageous about the future, or I feel hopeful about the future, or I feel confident in my ability to accomplish this thing, whatever it might be. And the more you can look at that, the more you say those things, the greater change you're going to have inside your brain. Now, it's really cool because the brain has these neurological pathways that run all over the place. Now, the RAS is part of that neurological pathway process. And so this right here, you can imagine that the neurological pathway was probably pretty thick if you've had it somewhere between the ages of 0 and 11, right? Well, these pathways are not going to be as thick. They're going to be kind of wimpy at first, okay? But the more and more you say these things, the more and more you start literally building new highways, new pathways in your brain until they're just as thick as the old one used to be. And now these are just part of who you are. Rather than you being all about fear, now you get to be all about courage, hope, confidence, whatever else that you get to work on. Isn't that amazing? To think that you can actually take this part of your brain that used to be like this, and now you can over time rebuild it so that you're a person of courage, hope, confidence, whatever it is that you're building. And that's why I call it Build the Warrior, because you are building yourself into a whole new person. Okay? So that is the process that you need to take yourself through if you want to reprogram your RAS. If you want your RAS to let in all of the good information that's going to help you achieve the goals in your life, then this is a simple process you can start taking yourself through every single day. So just to recap, so we've got the write and shred process. Now, sometimes you might need some help with trying to figure out what it is that you need to write about. So what I encourage you to do is to actually take the goals that you're trying to go for in your life, put them in front of you, look at them, and see what feelings come up. Fear, stress, anxiety, whatever it is, now you have something to do your write and shred. And you're going to do a write and shred at least 1 time a day. And you're going to take anywhere between 5 to 20 minutes to do that process, okay? Very simple, well worth it for the effects that you're going to get eventually, okay? Then once you get that done, you're going to build the warrior. And so then the Build the Warrior, you're going to have a 3-to-1 ratio with that. And you're going to put that in a journal that you keep. So you want to write that in a journal. You want to keep that, and you want to read it as often as you can. Sorry, I didn't realize I'm going a little bit below here. So you're going to take it, you're going to journal that, and you're going to read it every single day, multiple times a day, so you can build those whole new roads inside that brain. Okay? So that is what you're going to work on this week. And I would love to hear some comments back. For anyone that is watching right now, we got Sarah right now. Sarah, I want you to comment. Let us know how this works for you. I want you to share this with other people too. Share this process with other people that you know need this, that you know they need a new programming with this RAS, this reticular activating system. They need this. So share it with them. Anyone who watches this later on, go through this process and come back and comment. Let us know what kind of changes you're seeing, what kind of changes you're seeing with your thoughts, what kind of changes are you seeing with your goals that you're trying to achieve. Are your goals coming about easier? Are you finding yourself more clear in the direction you need to go in your life? Are you finding that you have a greater vision of what you can accomplish in your life? Okay? Because this whole process, my whole passion is to be able to see people create greater vision in their life, better direction in their life, and achieve more in their life. I want to see people master this process. And if you can take this one simple process, start applying it every single day on a consistent basis, it's going to be amazing to see what kind of things happen to you. So if you have any questions, leave some comments. If you want to get a hold of me, you can always email me. In the comments, I'll go ahead and put my email where you can get a hold of me. And again, I always am putting that offer out that if you want to take a 60-minute breakthrough call with me, where we get on the call together, we talk about what's not working in your life, we talk about the ways that maybe that you could get some better support with either from me or maybe I have some resources out there that you can go and get some support so that you can help make things work more effectively in your life. And I'll put that link inside the comment area too, so that if you want to schedule for that, you sure can. So again, this is Dr. Joe Kipo. I am so grateful that I was able to take some time with you this morning. Apply this, do this, work through this. We'll see you next time.